Muroff is here. He's the CEO of Strainprint. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Andrew, tell me, what does Strainprint do?
We are a data and analytics company in the cannabis industry. We are one of the very few companies that actually tracks data on patient use and patient outcomes, and we have the largest data set.
Cannabis big data.
Cannabis big data. So there's a lot of data that's on the supply side. We're on the demand side, demand and use side.
I see. So if I am a cannabis retailer, I would want to license this data to give me an idea of where the trends are in the marketplace?
So competitive intelligence, business intelligence, if you're on the medical side, treatment guidance. It's everything from strain efficacy, product formulation. You know, what am I missing in my product set that people are asking for, or how are my products comparing to other people's products?
Oh, so you're the guy who kind of finds out what the people are smoking.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not smoking. A lot of times it's other delivery mechanisms. There's a lot of vaping.
What is the favored method of delivery for Canada?
Well, we can't actually answer that question that broad. We can. We shouldn't answer that broadly. We should answer it by demographic, by gender. We can narrow it down to.
Okay.
We know that women vape more than men. Men tend to smoke more than females.
Who smokes more, men or women?
Men smoke more than women.
Okay.
Typically, and typically it's younger men, 50 below. 50 and above are vaping more, and a lot of people are taking their flower that they're buying from legitimate sources, and they're making their own edibles.
Oh, is that right?
So we're seeing a lot of that.
Oh, a little home baking.
A lot of home baking, believe it or not, a lot of home baking. And a lot of people are buying from outside of the legal system as well as buying from in the system too.
So according to your data, what percentage of cannabis in Canada is sourced from illegitimate sources?
What I can tell you is that in our system, so I can only tell you what my data shows. I can't tell you what the broader industry shows, but in our data, what it shows is 95% of the people who are tracking in our system are using legal sources, and about 20% are also using other products from outside of the system or creating their own derivative products from that.
Interesting. And now, I'm very curious about some of these points, but are people more attracted to high potency THC oriented products, or is there more of a mix towards people wanting lower THC, higher CBD, or what is the actual sort of breakdown in your data in terms of what demographic likes what level of potency?
So I'm going to take it a little bit further. So I'm going to say there's 450 active components in any strain of cannabis, and the key ones are THC and CBD. So those are the ones you hear the most about. But there's a whole whack of minor cannabinoids, expanded cannabinoids, and then terpenes, which are an ingredient that actually is evident in more than just cannabis. So it's understanding how all of those things interact together. So what I can tell you is, for most and by the way, it varies by indication what people are using, and that's the whole purpose of our data, is to help people find what optimal chemical profile works best for them, not the strain name.
Right.
So we really don't care how the producers tell us the strain. We care what's the chemical profile that people are using. So to answer your question, most people are not looking for really high THC.
Really?
They're not. They're looking for a combination.
That does not surprise me.
I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, too much THC and you're on the couch, right?
Well,
regardless of whatever other ingredients are in it.
Right.
People are looking for a solution to a symptomatic state, right? Do I have anxiety? Do I have fibromyalgia? Do I have epilepsy? And so what we're finding is different genetics in people and also different demographics in people need different things.
Interesting. So is the end goal of all this data collection and analysis, are you going to be able to one day say, okay, you're this blood type and you're this sort of demographic profile, and here's the condition and strain of that condition you have, so here's actually the perfect combination of ingredients for your CBD treatment, or rather cannabis-oriented treatment, which will work perfectly?
So we're not at the genetic phase yet. We're starting to incorporate that testing in, but what we can tell you from an observational perspective is we can actually tell you that the app that we have, our first product, is a product that helps people track their outcomes so that they can figure out what strains are working best for them for their symptom they're treating. And in aggregate now, we can start to look and we can say, if you're a 49-year-old male treating fibromyalgia, working during the daytime, needing to be creative, this is the optimal chemical profile for you. And these are the 10 products that have that.
Interesting. So I imagine, I mean, it's funny. So as a lifelong consumer of cannabis, there was never any thought about, you know, the entourage effect of the combined cannabinoid experience, especially with the terpenes and flavonoids, which apparently have some physiological modification effect as well. So now that all this information is coming to light, it's kind of like you think, geez, I maybe should have been smoking more of a cannabis
For sure.
dominant strain instead of the wheelchair weed that has basically caused me to spend 20 years locked in a dark room playing drums. And so this is intriguing to me, because ultimately this is going to improve every individual's relationship with cannabis, be it recreational or medical in nature.
That's why we exist.
Wow. Is this a public company?
It's not private.
I see. Yeah. Is it going to be a public company?
No intention to be private. Public. There's first of all, access to capital for data companies is not a problem, but more importantly, it's not really a reason for us to be public right now. It's really meant more for those companies that don't have access to capital other ways and need big capital for CapEx expansion.
Right.
I've run public company before, and
right.
If you're an operator of a public company, it's a great valuation boost, and
right.
It's great for public notoriety, but you have to actually run a business, and it's tough to run a business quarterly.
Right, you bet. Interesting. So then, is the purpose of Strainprint to actually produce this fundamental service that will be part of the cannabis ecosystem everywhere?
So it is now, today. I can tell you we have 3 products in market. We have our app, which is a patient-focused app that helps them to figure out what strains work best for them. We have a community portal, which is a private and secure community portal that is plugged into the app as well. Those are 2 consumer-facing products that drive the data into our Strainprint Analytics platform, which is a platform that allows us to monetize the anonymous data. So we have LPs, clinics, large pharmacy chains, government, a lot of people who subscribe to our data today through our Strainprint Analytics, and they use that data for either business intelligence or treatment recommendation or for product formulation.
Wow, fascinating. So this is a tool currently in use by medical practitioners to help patients zero in on what the exact appropriate medication might be.
And help physicians and clinics be more engaged with their patients and track the patient performance so that they can provide better treatment guidance and better ongoing treatment recommendations. So you can start to see your patient's performance in real time on our platform. Really? And you can see if there's a drop off. You don't have to wait till the next clinic visit before you address it.
Interesting. Now, so there's a broadening, ever increasing comprehension at the clinical level of exactly what are the effects and interrelationships between the endocannabinoid system and the various CBDs and cannabidiols and all of these things. From where you sit, I would think that you'd have a really great bird's eye view on the things that are showing so much potential for problems that might not be part of the popular discourse at this point.
Yeah, we're also, yes, and on top of that, we're starting to use the platform, the full ecosystem platform, the 3 pieces, to run clinical trials. So our first clinical trial is an endometriosis study that's in partnership with a group out of Israel, and together we'll be running a very large study. We'll take the data that we have today on endometriosis patients, we'll fine-tune what the study is going to be, we'll recruit from our community platform for the participants in the study, and at the end of the day, we will come out with a formulation that can be productized and will be approved in both of those markets.
Wow, sounds fascinating, Andrew.
Thank you.
We're going to come back to you in due course and get an update on this situation. It's really interesting. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.